There was once a time where I too was fooled into loving Isha. She was just so adorable. Her relationship with Jinx was really cute. I mean, she reminded us of Powder, right? And all I kept thinking about was how concerned I was for her well-being approaching episode 6. But then I realized something unfortunate. Isha is not a character. She is a plot device in the absolute worst way possible. And before everyone goes, oh my god, they're all characters, they're all plot devices because they're in the story, just hear me out for a sec. Isha's role in the story is quite literally just to ruin Jinx's mental health. And allow me to explain why this doesn't make any sense. At the end of season 1, Jinx's mental health is probably in the worst state it's ever been. After unaliving her second father figure and murdering many members of the council, it's safe to say that Jinx is in a very difficult spot at the start of season 2. She is quite literally lost, she is homeless, and she has no direction in the world. And while I personally am still not satisfied with how she was in the first 3 episodes, if we were following the path that season 1 was on, Jinx is in a terrible spot mentally after the end of season 1. Then she meets Isha, who for all intents and purposes fixes Jinx. After spending a few months with Isha and kind of becoming the big sister / mother figure for this character, Jinx changes for the better. She is now the hero of Zaun. Her schizophrenic outbursts have seemed to disappeared for the most part, or at least heavily regressed. She's able to hold stable conversations, she's able to hold stable relationships, and all in all, she seems very adjusted to this new lifestyle. And while I personally don't buy Jinx just being fully adjusted by Isha falling into her lap, that's a conversation for another day. And then we get to episode 6, and just when things seem like they're going a-okay for our characters, everything goes to shit. So now I'm going to break down for you the elephant in the room, Isha's sacrifice. In episodes 5 and 6, we have seen that Vander or Warwick has taken a liking to Isha. Again, bullshit for another video for another day, but alas, they like each other. They're family now. And I see what the writers of Arcane were going for here. They're gonna have Isha sacrifice herself to protect her loved ones, and at the same time, kind of finally put Vander out of his misery. Let Vander die with whatever little bit of dignity he still has left. But you see, the funny thing is, right before Isha sacrifices herself to kill Vander, we are shown that Vander is gone. Whatever bit of Vander that was still there burns away, leaving only Warwick. So Isha isn't doing a mercy to a fan-favorite character, instead she's just unaliving a monster. And she does this for the sake of protecting her family. But the unfortunate thing is, none of this works. Warwick just comes back stronger and better than ever, and because Vander is now dead, Singed is able to use his blood to revive Victor and make him the Overlord. A large part of Mbesso's forces aren't harmed, and she seems to have more by the time the final war comes around. So in terms of the actual physical effect Isha's sacrifice has, there is nothing. She just makes the situation worse. And this is where her being a plot device really comes into play, because the only reason she existed was to absolutely destroy Jinx's mental health. But the thing is, before Isha entered the plot, Jinx was already, or should have already been, at this state. Jinx was and should have been lost, depressed, definitely guilty and possibly suicidal, all prior to meeting Isha. So the writers of Arcane had Jinx in a specific position, and then they decided to move her from position A to position B for the sole reason of getting her back to position A. Why not just leave her there? Isha is quite literally just a plot device that has no actual real-world effect, and the only emotional effect she has was something we already accomplished. And what is so insane is, aside from Jinx just being sad, no one talks about, mentions, or even thinks about Isha. She is just gone, evaporated from the story. A child quite literally unalived themselves, and no one is talking about it. How do we not even have a 1-minute scene where Savika approaches Jinx and talks about the fact that a fellow loved one that they both loved died? This has to be one of the most infuriating topics for me in Arcane Season 2, because I was quite literally tricked into loving Isha for no reason. She is unnecessary. She serves no point in the plot. Isha was just a lousy reattempt to capture the shock and impact of Milo and Clagger's death. And you know what? It would have worked if they actually made her a fully fleshed out character. And fair warning, for my next video, I might even be slightly more irritated than this one, because we're addressing one of my favorite characters, and how he too just poofs away.